Hey, it's Alex, and today I have a very important question for you, which is, what if you could dramatically accelerate the pace at which you make progress in your life? What if you could go a lot faster and a lot further starting right now so that whatever dream, whatever goal you have, you can make it bigger and get there faster and more reliably? In fact, what if you could become the kind of person that sets a goal and automatically reaches it no matter what that goal is and no matter what field of your life it's in? Would that interest you? If the answer is yes, then I have something really interesting for you today. This is part of my 10x Your Life program, and this present video, and the whole thing actually, is for 3 types of people. See if you recognize yourself in one of them. Type of person number 1. Type of person number 1 is you're a young person, you're making your way through life, you have big goals, you have big aspirations, and you haven't been kind of crushed by the outside world yet. You don't really have a feeling, an entire feeling for what's possible, what's not possible, what you can do, what you can't do. And so your future's still wide open. You've got all these goals and dreams, and you're moving towards them, but you're not making the kind of progress that you'd like to make. Things are slow, you find yourself copping out, you find yourself lacking discipline, and you find yourself making mistakes, but most of all, you find yourself lacking the kind of overall vision and the strategies and the systems that, if you did have them, would allow you to accelerate your growth tremendously. Type of person number 1. Second type of person that this is for. This is also for you if you've reached a point in kind of middle life, somewhere between mid-20s, mid-30s, maybe a little bit beyond, and you've got a pretty fixed personality. You have become you. You're pretty sure about who you are, but the present you that you are is somehow not able to connect and achieve at the level that you'd like to achieve at. You don't have the relationships that you'd want. You don't have the income, the impact, the influence. You don't have the position in your life that you would like to have. And you feel stuck. You feel like no matter what you try, no matter what you read, no matter what you think up, somehow it only gets you a little tiny bit further, if at all, on your path towards your bigger and brighter future. Well, if that's you, then you're going to enjoy this. And finally, the third type of person, and this happens to a lot of achievers and doers out there, is the person who had the kind of ability to move their life forward quickly in whatever sphere they wanted to. The kind of person who reached big goals, who's done it before, who's done things in their past that they look back and they go like, wow, that's impressive. I did that? Whoa. And they would like to continue to do that. They would like to rekindle that feeling in their life where they felt that they could do anything, that they could just choose something, lock it in, and then go for it and get it. In a way, if you've lost your mojo, that's what's happened. So there's very specific systems and tactics that you can use to kind of rekindle that flame if you had it, or to start that flame and fan that fire so it turns into a raging inferno quickly. And this is what I'm going to talk to you about today very quickly. All right, so that's the 3 types of people. If you've recognized yourself, I hope your ears are wide open and you're listening. So here's the first thing that I want to tell you about. Who the heck am I, and why should you listen to me? I'm not going to go into a long history or biography. Here's what I'm going to tell you, is that at about 25 years old, I was exactly in one of the situations that I just described. I was dreaming up here, but I was doing down here. Everything in my life was reflected by mediocrity. I had low-paying jobs. I had minimum wage jobs, one after another, and I couldn't break through that ceiling. The other thing is, I would often get fired from my job. So not only did I have the lowest position, but I had trouble hanging on to it. I had a bad attitude. I drank a lot. I used drugs. I went to bed too late. I did almost everything wrong. And really, I got to a point in my life where I realized that if I don't make a significant change, then my future is going to be more of the same. I was deeply in debt. I was financially irresponsible and terrible at the whole thing. And at some point, I even got thrown out of my apartment and I moved into an apartment over a junkyard where I lived for over a year. So that is the very low point at which I started. And then I went on to learn specific strategies, tactics, as well as hard skills that allowed me to create my first business, my second business, my third business. And then I was able to use those skills to transform my life in a whole bunch of other spheres, including my health, my relationships, the way that I look, the way that I speak. And all of these things have, here's the end result, is that the limitation for what I feel that I can accomplish is close to 10 out of 10. Okay, if I dream about the absolute biggest thing that I could ever do, then maybe it's a little bit intimidating and I think, yeah, I think I could do that, but I'm not sure. But everything else that's underneath that, I know that if I put my mind to it, I can do it. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because this not having that capacity was breaking my heart and breaking my mind and causing me to be depressed and ineffectual as a human being for almost my entire life. And the worst part is it was getting worse all the time because the more experience you have of yourself as this ineffectual thing that can't get it done, then the more your horizon shrinks, shrinks, shrinks. And then you just get stuck in yourself and it sucks. Well, here's how to get unstuck. And that's the reason why you should listen to me. Not because I have a diploma from Harvard, not because I have any diploma whatsoever, in fact, because I don't. But I've been able to significantly, I would say even dramatically, change my life, change my income, change my impact, change my influence in the world. And if that's what you want, I know how to do it, and I'm going to show you how to do it right now. All right. So here's what it's all about. I call this the freedom equation, and I'm going to go into this more in a further video. But right now, I just want to keep things extraordinarily simple so that you understand the context of what it is that I want to share with you. So, what's the freedom equation? Well, the freedom equation, quite simply, is the methodology or the parts that you need arithmetically, I think that's a word, so that you can get everything that you want out of life. That's what freedom's about. It's not just financial freedom, it's also, how about if you want to work in a different field? How about if you want to work in a different country? How about if you don't like the relationships and the friends that you have currently and you'd like to have better ones? Well, if you have these skills right here, then whatever it is that you have in your life that's here and that you want here, that's the recipe for transforming it. So, here's the freedom equation. Freedom equals ISS plus SP. That's the simplest version that you can ever get it down to. So there's two actual parts. There's only two parts to it. The first part is what I call the independence skill set. Okay, so these are the hard skills. These are the things like, for example, you have an accounting degree, so you know how to do accounting, so people can hire you to crunch those numbers and get it done. It's a hard skill. It's very easy to measure. You can take a test. The same thing, for example, if you have marketing skills, sales skills, presentation skills, all of those things. If you understand business, if you understand the laws that govern money, and you're able to bend them to your will and to use them to great effect, that's the independent skill set. But that's not what I want to talk to you about today. What I want to talk to you about today is the SP. And the SP is what I call the success personality. See, success has a personality. It's defined by an operating system. There's a way that extraordinarily successful people do things in their life, and they do all of the things. The more successful they are, the more systematic they are in everything that they do. There's a way that they get up. There's a way that they brush their teeth. There's a way they get their exercise. There's a way they get their energy up. There's a way that they clarify their goals and focus on them so hard that they can't see anything else in the world. There's even a way that they go to bed at night to make sure that they do it on time, that they get a good night's sleep, and that their life is kind of like a Swiss timepiece, just tick-tock, tick-tock, extreme precision. So there's a system, and there's a success personality. And the success personality is actually, perhaps, I would say, more important than the independent skill set. You know, so much of the world and so much of what we see everywhere focuses on this. It's the skills that you have. But what are the skills or the knowledge? What does that mean if you're not able to use it and transform it into results in your life? Well, the ability to use what you've got and squeeze every drop out of it, that comes from the success personality, not from the independent skill set. So you can learn and learn and learn and learn, and it gets you almost nowhere. And you've probably experienced this. If you've ever felt stuck, you've probably felt like, gosh, I read, I study, I learn stuff, I feel like I'm growing inside, but in terms of the outside result, there's not much going on. And then if you really audit yourself and you look at your life, do you see, if you don't see yourself behaving differently, then you can't get a different result. So it doesn't matter what you know, it matters how you behave. And personality is what determines how you behave a lot of the time. So, the last point that I really want to make here is that this is, in a way, IQ versus AQ. That's supposed to be a Q, not a G. IQ versus AQ. So IQ is your intellectual quotient. It's like the stuff that you got in your mind, the systems, your ability to do math, and the things that you know. But what's AQ? Well, AQ is achievement quotient. So it comes back to this. It's not just about what you know. It's about what you're able to do with the stuff that you do know. Now, this is something that I've witnessed again and again coaching tens of thousands of students, is that everybody thinks that they know everything. You think that they know it, but then they don't do it. If you think you know something but you're not doing it, you don't know it. And you can never get the result just by knowing something intellectually. You have to use it in your life. This system that I'm about to show you, which is called 10x Your Life, is exactly that system, so that you can get the most out of everything that you've got, and that every time you acquire a new skill, you're able to immediately put it to great use. All right, final point. Here's what determines the size of your life. It's called the commitment scope. And yes, that's a word that I made up. So here's what I've noticed over time, is that there's two sides to commitment. There's the absolute size of the commitment that you're making, and then there's the duration of the commitment that you're making. So if you can't make a tiny commitment and then you can't keep that commitment going throughout time, then you're a 1 on the scale of commitment scope. And if you can make a giant commitment and see it through to the end over a period of years, sometimes even decades, then you're a 10 on the scale of commitment scope, and you can turn off this video because it's got nothing for you. But I don't think many people are there. Let me give you an example. Here's an example of a 10, okay? You have a visionary guy, like Walt Disney, for example. And one day, and he's built all of this great stuff, he's built this amazing company, he's considered one of the most creative people in the world, and one day he tells himself, I'm going to build a magical kingdom. And as he's telling that, he's talking to other people, and they're standing over a swamp in Florida. And there's freaking mosquitoes the size of sparrows buzzing around their heads. It smells like a sewer, and there's alligators everywhere. And this guy looks over the horizon and he says, this is it. I can see it. I can feel it. This is going to become the happiest place on earth. And everybody else is going like, are you out of your mind? But he knows it's going to happen because he's made so many things happen in his life that he understands the principle of just putting one foot over another, of the planning of everything that goes behind it. And he knows that that's a commitment that he's able to make, and that's a commitment that he's able to uphold. It might take 5 years, it might take 10 years, but it's going to happen. That's a 10 out of 10. Now, a 1 or a 2 out of 10, and listen up, most people, I would say, in today's day and age are there. Why? Because we're so darn distracted and we have all these ideas in our head that are not our own. So we go and we try to accomplish things that we don't even care about because someone else said that it was important. And that's just one of the reasons why we're so low, generally, on the commitment scope scale. What does it mean to be low? Well, I see this kind of stuff every day either with people that I coach or people in other events or people just in the industry of self-help or business building, and people will learn something new in the morning. They'll learn, for example, they'll learn that Facebook and social media destroys your brain and destroys your ability to concentrate. And they'll see up on the screen, nice slides that show your brain shutting down because of the social media, and they'll think, damn, that's not good. And then they think, I do that an hour a day, 2 hours a day, sometimes 3. I'm gonna stop. I'm only gonna do it on weekends. Tonight, when I get home, I'm not gonna Facebook. There. And then, the first thing they know, they're posting about their new commitment on Facebook. It's freaking insane. And they do this all day long to the point where they don't even realize that they're making all of these commitments up in the air and that they're not delivering any of them. And this damages your psyche, it damages your ability to get anything done. And it's really one of the most important things that you can correct if you want to 10x your life. If you want to have an excellent life, you need to be able to make a commitment and keep that commitment all the way through. As we go through the program, your ability to make a commitment that's bigger and bigger and bigger, and to keep it going, to fan those flames longer and longer and longer so that you can decide something today and still be doing it 2 years down the road, when you get that ability, your life will have changed dramatically. And then when you look at your future, you're not going to see it as more of your past. You're going to look at your future and you're going to think, wow, this is a blank canvas and I'm a great artist. I can draw on this whatever it is that I want. And I know that whatever image I see in my head eventually is going to be there exactly on the canvas, and it may be even better than everything that I could ever have imagined. Well, folks, that's what 10xing your life is about. So I invite you to enter your email in the box below. I have a lot of stuff to share with you. As you can see, I'm very enthusiastic. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Goad, reminding you that today counts, so behave yourself accordingly.